Welcome, welcome, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to, of course, our LPL English coverage, brought to you by our friends at Games in Asia and Esports Heaven. We're getting ready to get into the second game of our first set tonight. Invictus Gaming taking on LGD. I'm PiraTechnics, joined by Froskurinn, and we are pretty stoked to see what comes out of game number 2, Frosk, aren't we?
I, of course, am a huge IG fan, and I am always stoked to see them succeed. That said, historically, IG splits and they never 2-0. We'll see if they're able to pull it off. The only team that they have 2-0'd is Young Glory so far in the LPL. So, dreams alive, but consistency is not there.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they've got to work on going forward. Have to be able to recover. That remake was an unfortunately timed thing. However, we'll see if they can pull it out in the next game. We see any like crazy picks like we saw on that ill-fated first attempt. Maybe Maokai and Fizz in the top lane. I think the jig might be up for those shenanigans, or rather the new picks. I was really looking forward to seeing how Maokai did on 411 for China, at least.
Oh yeah, that said, we'll see if it goes through this time around, although I think you're correct. They immediately banned that out, saw the power of it, recognized it instantly, and took that away from Youngsu. We do have another game following this set, however, which we could see it possibly from perhaps Koro or Khan, as it is EDG and World League Academy that will be facing up next. Although, coming back from that remake to then lose the game, LGD is definitely probably on the back foot here.
Yeah, well, they get to be on blue side this time. First pick in their pocket as they take away Rengar, answered back by Caston on Invictus Gaming. That's one thing that doesn't change from Regions. Caston still never makes it through.
It's only recently, though, that Caston has really kind of become the focus of bans in China. Previously, he was never really touched until, you know, maybe the last 3 to 4 weeks, which we're in week 8, so that's only about half the split.
Of course, Maokai banned out once again, so Youngsu not going to get to practice that one. Might see him back on one of his more favorite picks, and this time Invictus bans a little away. So Stai's like, I'm done with that champion. We'll do something different this time.
Obviously, they don't want that champion to go over to the threat of that first pick. Curious, though, that Gragas wasn't... oh, he was banned last game. I was like, why wasn't Gragas picked up? Why was it the Maokai? But it was because there was a Gragas ban. We'll see if that goes through this time around. Again, IG doesn't have first pick, so, you know, prioritizing that. We cannot let these champions go. And I have a feeling Zitai's like, Lee Sin or Gragas? Who's it going to be? And it's Zed.
And it's Zed, so that happens.
And it's Zed.
This leaves a lot of things open. 17 can take the Gragas. We have seen Nidalee as a counter pick to it. Will Youngsu go that way? I'm thinking about Yasuo, which does get locked in. Illusion getting to rock Lee Sin, taking it away from Xuan. Don't want to give him too many weapons here. And this is a pretty big power move. They say, okay, we can deal with the top lane, but we're going to go for the quick Yasuo lock-in. Zitai is going to be happy.
I'm curious if Youngsu is going to go Mundo or if he's going to go back to a Shyvana. Traditionally, Mundo is the counter to Gragas. Of course, now we start seeing that Maokai appearing, but formally, it was Mundo.
See if he does come back up. However, Brahm's still on the table as well, and LGD eyeballing that considering how well Kitty's played on it last game. PYL, definitely more of a Thresh main, but he can play a number of good supports well, and I think he'll be wanting this one. AD carry still completely up in the air. Oh, last second switch over. All right. Yeah, I want my Thresh back. Okay.
I was going to say, there's no way that they can give Thresh to Kitties. PYL, of course, a very strong Thresh player, but Kitties, possibly one of the strongest supports in LPL. Definitely up there in either the top 2 or the top 3. You cannot let him have that champion. It's simply ridiculous. I think the only better Thresh in LPL is possibly Cloud, OMG's support.
Kid, thinking about the Ezreal pickup. He has mained this in the past, and he has actually picked it up recently on a couple occasions too, so he's getting a little bit of freeform to see what he goes with. They're not taking their top, and as I say it, they switch over and make a double power play. They're going to take up Braum, even though he likely wouldn't be locked in, as the Thresh was already taken. They go for Shyvana as well, waiting for the last pick to be the AD carry.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's more so about finding that counter pick. You know, you don't want to pick Ezreal into something that's going to hyper carry late game. So.
Yeah, they're going to let.
And Kid, it's a favorite champion of his, but he hasn't found a lot of success on it in this current split. He's found more success on those hyper carries like Tristana, like Twitch. Even like Kog'Maw, as we saw last game. So if it is Lucian, though, I could see him maybe falling back to the Ezreal if that's what he wants to play, but I think it would be much better suited, especially with a Braum, to go someone like Tristana, like Kog'Maw.
He's not going to have Tristana as an option. That gets taken away by XQ, and PYL will lock in Ari for way less. This means Kid will have a couple of options to play with. Do they go the Lucian Braum route? That was the Braum release OP strat. This is still old Lucian, and they do. All right.
Lucian, the better Ezreal.
Man, that's a harsh put down. But they go for it, and this is a really nice combination, I think, of different strong picks. The only one that can't do a knockup is Kid, and that's totally fine. You don't need your AD carry necessarily to do it, and they would have only had a chance maybe with XQ, but everyone's got the displacement. Zatai is going to be incredibly happy with the way this has shaped out, and they're trusting Youngsu to be able to lane against Agragas.
I feel like the featured matchup is really going to be between the junglers. However, we saw a lot of early ganks and early pressure from both sides. Obviously, the first time around, pre-remake versus post-remake, Chuan came up on top, and then, Illusion was able to turn that around. Illusion definitely has better tools to make early plays, but he's not, really known for a big Lee Sin player. This split, much more known for Jarvan, Skarner, things like that. Lee Sin fits in the profile. He has played it, but see how smoothly it goes. And speaking of, kind of playing on more of the outskirts of your champion pool, Evelyn for Chuan, typically, it's Lee Sin or it's Elise, and recently it's been Jarvan and Evelyn. So see if he's able to find any success here.
See how that goes going forward as the players get ready to load up. We will be taking a very quick break. It'll go over to commercial, and when we get back, be on the Rift for game number 2 of set number 1 LGD, this time on the blue side taking on IG. Guys, don't go anywhere. You're watching the LPL in English. Alright, sorry about the quick break on that one, but we are back into the game as everybody's trying to feel each other out here with the line of scrimmage. Illusion looking for a go-in. He's not going to be able to find XQ around the side, but he looks to try all the same.
I want to talk about something very important to... Ooh, hold on a second, though.
Yeah, we won't have a chance in this one. XQ, whoa! Turning up the heat just a minute. Illusion still wanting to find that early game pick, and they are going to be defending their buffs very, very heavily. It's going to force Kid and XQ to both back away. The carry's not very well protected in the early stages.
China as a region actually has a ridiculous win rate on purple side due to the counter pick, particularly usually in the mid lane. The fact that neither IG nor LGD in this set, because obviously IG coming in this 1-0 so far, won on the blue side. But the fact that neither of these teams really prioritize that counter pick, I think speaks a lot to A, the particular mid laners that are fighting, and B, kind of where these teams really put emphasis on their composition as opposed to, that 1v1 power. Even with someone like Zatai on the team, so I find that a little bit curious.
Yeah, is a bit strange indeed. And Zatai will have to be facing down that Ahri in the mid, despite the fact that Ahri has been coming into a resurgence of popularity against picks like Yasuo. I still want to give this edge to Zatai just because this is a champion that he thrives on. He has a comp built around on, and this is going to be a late game dangerous scenario, no matter what for LGD.
Yeah, but there is a little bit of pressure for Zatai to really take off. Like you said, he has definitely all the tools given to him to see him succeed, but if he doesn't, Lucian's damage is going to fall off again. Nothing has changed from this Lucian. This is 4.11. It's not like he's a hyper carry.
Kid, be careful. He's getting ticked down with the Ignite. Heals up, and he doesn't quite go down. It's actually going to be first blood in the jungle as all that happens. XQ nearly getting taken out in that one. And health potions, OP is Kid staying alive. Not for long, though. That's going to be PYL taking the kill there. Kitty's going a little bit far as well. That was a very poor decision from Kid.
Mechanical misstep did not respect the range for PYL to have on that auto attack. I really want to see the replay, although just looking at where Illusion killed Chuan, I mean, this is what I always used to talk about this, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Evelynn into Lee Sin is an awful pickup. There's nothing to stop Eve. Eve has an incredibly risky early jungle clear. It's really slow, and it actually gets her relatively low. And then B, there's literally nothing to stop Lee Sin from walking into the jungle and just murdering her on sight, which was effectively what happened. He walked to her blue buff and just killed her and was like, what's up, babe?
Yeah, and you always think of Evelynn as being the one that does the counter jungling, but not prepared for that. As Illusion says, hey, this is the champion you do stuff on, right? Well, look what I can do. And just get the first blood. Even if it got answered by Kid, or by, excuse me, onto Kid, Illusion's still looking to make moves. Xuan there, maybe looking to make something more happen. Doesn't see him, though. It's invisible. I mean, he doesn't see anything, but he definitely can't see when Evelynn isn't stealth.
I shouldn't find that as funny as I do.
Yeah, well, you're a terrible person. Making fun of blind people. Come on, Frosk.
I'm just a little slow this morning, and so that joke took about 5 seconds to register, and I was like, oh, it's because he's Lee Sin.
Yeah.
And then it panned over to him, and he was standing in a brush. It was probably just like the perfect moment. You had to be there, Pyra.
Well, I thought I was, but maybe I'm not all there, too. Illusion will, however, find himself a little bit of counter jungling as he goes down to the bot side. A little bit of help with Kitty's, the roaming support, just to get him a little bit more jungle farm up. And there should be a collapse here. If Kid can hold out, not go down once again. He is still up in farm despite having died already. He actually has not gotten the other Dorns, waiting instead for himself to be able to complete the full item. Let's see what he ends up going with, as right now they're looking for the collapse in. It's not going to happen. The patience, my patience is wearing thin. Come on, guys, fight. No, they're waiting. They're just taking their time.
The fact, I mean, obviously, worst thing to possibly happen to a jungler, you get killed early, you lose your buffs, you lose your gold lead, you lose all map pressure. Although, speaking of pressure, here comes PYL.
Yep, they decide for a different approach. PYL takes a little bit of damage around the side, but now you have Xuan coming up through lane, and Illusion coming up to mid. Uh-oh, Wayless isn't 6 yet. He has to burn his flash to get out of there. Charmed onto Zatai, though. Safeguard keeps him alive. That could have been really bad if Ahri was 6. Or at least it could have been a lot better for LGD.
Issue, though, is that Ahri has to hit Charm to make the most damage out of a target. And even though she technically has AoE damage, the fact that most of her damage is prioritized to one target, you know what I'm saying? Just because she has to hit the charm and then follow up on her abilities to do more damage. I think it's a little weird in Ahri's kit. Don't think Riot quite thought that one through.
Yeah, and he hasn't been able to keep up in farm either. Zatai actually a little bit more on the up and up. Both mid laners now hit 6 Illusion, waiting to come around the side if he can. Everything is very tense, but I'm surprised there haven't been any crazy lane swaps or anything. You'd think XQ and PYL would want to opt for the 2v1, but so far they're perfectly content to take this, and Xuan around the side, not going to be seen in that brush if Kid and Kitty's push too far out. They could be in trouble here. Illusion making his way up through the opposite jungle while Xuan is not at home. Kitty's is going to pop the unstealth, rather, and Kid, he's going to go down. That's going to be XQ, getting in, getting out, and they are able to get out of there in style. Once again, killing the AD carry on Invictus Gaming and getting away with it.
Good patience from LGD right there to make that gank happen. I don't think Chuan was absolutely necessary for it, but it was something that he needed as far as experience, and not just, you know, on the kill, but sitting around in that lane and soaking so much from his bot lane to really get a footing back into this game. I want to talk about kind of the lane of Tristana Thresh versus Lucian Braum. I think the reason that they kept it is they knew that they had a favorable matchup, A, in this top lane as we look at 17 just really sticking it to Yangsu, but B, Braum actually has a really weak lane phase. We do talk about, you know, the synergy of Lucian Braum and being able to proc that passive relatively quickly, but Braum's level, you know, 2 through 5 is far less than the amount of pressure that someone like Thresh will put out. Simply based on the fact that A, Thresh is range. That's 2 range champions against a melee and a range champion. And then, you know,
range increases every couple of levels.
Exactly, there's that too, the threat of the explosive shot. But just, you know, if if there's ever a moment where you can hit a champion and they can't hit you back, you automatically win that pressure war. We should start to see a swing of power, you know, probably around level 6. That said, with that kill going over early to Tristana, this is not where IG, particularly Kid, really want to be.
Yeah, Kid has really fallen on hard times here. He's not been able to secure much of anything, and he's getting dove under tower without any answer from his team. Illusion focusing extensively on counter jungling and moving his way now towards the top. They're going to get spied out. Zatai trying to make a roam too. Wayla says, I know exactly what you guys are up to. He's got himself a blue buff to be able to spam out those abilities as fast as he possibly can, along with the needlessly large rod. Zatai, despite being up in farm, is only currently sitting on an Avarice Blade, and this is going to be a slight power spike in favor of Wayless, who makes his presence known very quickly. Jungler's hanging around the side too, so this could get bloody, but they're playing it out very safely in every lane but the bot.
And you're absolutely right about the counter juggling on the part of Illusion, but the fact of the matter is he isn't ahead. It's 33-21. So despite how much time, although, is he going to... No, he's not. I was going to say, don't follow that up.
Please no.
Despite the fact that he's been spending so much time really trying to put Chuan in the ground, Chuan has had a better, you know, map pressure presence, not only being Evelyn and, you know, making it happen for his bot lane, but the fact that even in spite of all of that, he's still technically ahead in creep score.
Yeah, it seems like Illusion took the Lee Sin, and then he hasn't been as comfortable on it, even though we've seen him play it. It seems like it was a takeaway, and they didn't really think it through as well as they wanted to. Sure, you can proc the ult into Zatai's ult, but that's going to be later on in the game, and they're going to be stalling out for that. Whereas Kid will fall down a little bit, fall off a little bit, and XQ will start to pick up the pace. This early game still has not been Kid's. This is where he should shine. This is a bit of a problem, and he's working towards the eye edge, the conventional build, you might call it, and he's getting caught up here now by PYL. Tower's going to go down. XQ could go forward onto this. Lantern coming in. That means Shuan's not far behind. Illusion coming around the side. Going to get the kickoff onto PYL. Kicks him out of his own box. Kitty's making the play, or trying to, rather, as they don't have enough damage. Kid getting hooked in. Can he finish off PYL? He can. He's going to fall down, though, and that's going to be a kill over to XQ. They trade support for AD carry, and they will say, yes, thank you very much. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Yongsu dueling it out with 17, but a barrel going to come and smack him in the face, and they'll back away after all of that said and done. Burn the flash.
Very curious what Illusion was doing with positioning. I don't know if you saw it, but before that fight, he was in the area for the entire time. You think Tristana Thrush are completely pushed forward onto this tower. We know that they both have their summoners, but they're pushed forward. They need to be punished for this. Illusion was in the area and refused to act until A, after the tower went down, and B, when there was a clear 3v3 of course Chuan showing up a little late to that party there. At a clear disadvantage, tried to get the insect. You know, worked decently well, but like you said, 80 carry for support, completely worth for LGD. They'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and this is mostly because they're just afraid that they won't be able to catch XQ slippery yordle that he is. He's got the rocket jump to be able to disengage from bad situations, and he's 2-0. If they put him in the middle of it, you never know what's going to happen. Tristana is a very tricky champion to deal with. Whoa! Zatai getting caught way up. Nice hook and nice charm. Wayless and PYL combined to get the kill to the mid laner. That was really well played from LGD as they start to show some real steel this game.
And on a larger context of the match, I like the choice from Wayless here. If you've ever been looking at mid lane, Wayless has Zatai shoved way in, as far as he possibly can. He recognizes that last game, who was the big carry? It was Zatai getting involved in his side lanes and being able to roam freely. That's not going to happen. Obviously, it's a composition built around Yasuo. That Yasuo was going nowhere. He's going to stay exactly where LGD want him, which is getting hooked up by PYL and 2v1'd.
Hook, line, and sinkered as they managed to take him down. The doubling up has worked out really, really well. PYL's roam has been incredible. 100% kill participation this game. He has made everything happen. Top laners continuing to duel it out. But Yongsu has his hands full. He can't get involved in any of these, and he's actually had to spend... Whoa, hold on. Illusion coming in here. 17 going to try and disengage from all that, but he's running towards the wrong tower. This might be a matter of time. Dragging this on a little bit prematurely. Yongsu dueling it out. He might go down, though. You got to be so careful. 17, he's just running through the jungle as fast as he might be able to. They're looking for the collapse, but this is a lot spent just to take him down. Can LGD capitalize on this in any way, shape, or form? Well, they're going to give the kill over to Kid. That's exactly what they needed. However, this mid tower under fire now. Shuan, PYL, everyone collapsing around the side. XQ coming in. They're going to trade a kill for a tower, and LGD says thank you very much. walking away.
It wasn't only the tower, it was the dragon as well. That was a 2 global swing. While all of the resources were committed top from IG, LGD made the superior call. They said, okay, let's take mid, let's take dragon. They took the dragon, they swung mid, they swung their gold lead.
Yeah, they really, really took advantage of the fact that there was heavy committing. And Zitai is going to go down to XQ. Xuan doubling up on that one. The map is now cracked open in favor of LGD. And yeah, they have been making, you talked about how they have the smarter strategic plays of a lot of LPL teams. This is proving it right now.
Last game, you know, maybe they were thrown off because that pause came in because it was a remake, or for whatever reason IG got a chance to kind of reevaluate what was happening and adapt this time around. IG not giving the same luxury, and LGD coming up big on top. Like you said, Tristana ahead early game. This is not what you want, especially in the context of 311 Lucian. He is not going to catch up, despite, you know, having an eye to having a Trinity Force. So, see if maybe
I thought you were talking about
Zitai...
311 the band for a second. I'm sorry.
No.
I was trying to think how that would actually combine up, and, you know, like, just imagine, like, Lucian on a microphone, like, singing that weird voice.
It's the band. They rocked, they still rock. Yes?
Ah, okay. Speaking of rock, whoa, XQ looking ready to rock and roll. Gets a little impatient going on to Kid, trading out some damage with him. POL and Xuan could not make the follow-up in time. But, yeah, that's only going to get worse and worse, I think. They're even on items right now, but a 3-0 Trist is going to be great come this end game.
Kid's done a good job staying relevant on CS, despite
Everything.
being dead. Well, frankly, being dead for as long as he has in the game. That said, it's really explosive shot working against XQ. As Tristana levels up, gets more items, that should shift dramatically.
17 getting kicked away. Doesn't really bounce too far. It's a little bit too chubby for all that, but he stays alive. Youngsoon Illusion unable to make a play onto that Gragas.
He pretty much whiffed his cask there as well. I think he hit his own creeps. You know, just watering them, trying to grow some cannon creeps.
Grow some cannon creeps. I guess that's the recipe. That's the teleport.
It's not a cannon creep. It's literally a keg. That's what that cannon creep. He's literally a rolling keg, and they just have like a mounted what do they call
17
it?
will be happy to drink
Tap.
that then. There we go. Xuan and XQ going to be roaming around the jungle. They have so much map pressure on the spot side. It's no wonder that they were able to easily take out the dragon, and they're able to clear wards really quickly as well around this side. When the next one does come up, assuming nothing's changed, LGD are really looking in great position to take this too. And now Zitai not looking in so great position as he gets jumped on. Windwall, though, going to stop the advance of XQ, and PYL whiffs a hook to try and catch Illusion on a line. So far, so good, as they lose absolutely nothing for chasing.
See if LGD focuses their power here and forces that up mid. Technically, the easiest objective on the map for them, since Dragon is not available, is going to be that first tier top tower. That said, they are more than happy to just let 17 continuously farm up there and build up. Looks like he's going more so an AP style Gragas. Has that CDR with the Morellos. Of course, Illusion now being 1v1 by PYL.
Yeah, when you're running away from the support, that's always a little problematic for your team.
I would expect to see them apply pressure to the second tier mid tower until Dragon spawns. They have superior
towers so far.
Yeah, and they have superior siege, and the issue with taking Yasuo in the mid lane is that he doesn't have safe wave clear. He has to get onto the front lines to do anything. It's not like they have, you know, an Ahri or a Ziggs or a Gragas to kind of stand back there and just
Illusion, that is close to 100-0. Kicks Ahri away as soon as the charm wears off. Wayless not done yet, looking to make some plays. Man, that was crazy.
His life flashed before his eyes. That damage.
Yeah, it barely got the kick off.
She has the DFG available.
Yeah, that was a DFG proc immediately, nearly sending him back to Fountain. However, in all of that, LGD manages to snatch themselves another tower. Top still under contention, but second tier bot already pushing in, looking for a bigger slice of the pie. Wayless stopping the back of Zitai, who just has not found his footing this game. You're right. On a comfortable champion like this is troubling that he hasn't been able to perform better.
And I like this better. Okay, so you pointed out something really cool. The fact that I thought that they were going to go mid and consolidate their power, which they are kind of now, although Dragon's going to spawn in a minute, so I don't think they'll take too many risks here. They're doing a skirmish base.
Oh, Xuan He could go down in all this, but Kitties is pretty low too. Shuan staying alive through all that Ignite, taking away his health bar, but he stays alive and lives to fight another day. Kid now, he's going to burn out. That's PYL with one more hit, and he flashes forward with the flay. Way less making things happen. Zatai trying to get the last breath out, and he will finish off PYL. It's a poor trade, however, as they're turning it right on around. Zatai all on his lonesome. Yangsu up in the top, still heavily farming away or trying to get back now as he manages to get himself another kill. Shuan goes down. But it's a 4 for 2 for LGD. And Frosk, I believe you had a point you wanted to make.
Okay, first of all, that team fight, that was a complete error of engaging that without Yasuo. You have a composition built around Yasuo. If you use your knockups and the last breath is not there to synergize with it, that's a complete misuse of your composition. The point that I wanted to make, what I love what LGD is doing is they're doing a skirmish-based fighting style, which really excels with assassins, especially like Ahri, because she can just immediately 100 to 0 someone, and especially because Tristana is so far ahead at this point. So what they're doing is they're never grouping up to fight a 5v5. They're picking fights that they know, like they have the word in that brush. They knew that Zatai wasn't there, so they knew that they had a numbers advantage. They're being really smart because they recognize, this composition is all about Zatai. In the early game, we're going to make sure he can't leave his lane. In the mid game, we're going to run a 1-1-3 split push so that it's never going to be a full 5v5 or a 4v5. It's always going to be a 3v3, a 4v3, or something like that. And that is brilliant.
Yeah, LGD managing to get themselves another dragon off of that. Weird behavior at the end of that replay. Zatai went back in when he was 1v2 with no health.
That's weird behavior for Zatai.
Okay, maybe not for Zatai, but it just seemed unnecessary, and he could have avoided going down too. But yeah, the trade's going definitely in favor of LGD because they're only taking those fights that you called it. They know they can win. Another dragon in their pockets, more gold. They've got themselves a 7,000, well, I can math this morning, 7,000 gold lead. And it's growing. They're continually making these plays. Now 17 has to watch out. Yangsu blows his cover. Dragons are hard to hide in tall grass, it would appear, as he's now trying to bait 17 in. There's Illusion going in. They might take a fight here, but he gets out, immediately pops the cast. And they're still on the chase, though. They're looking for him. 17 is trying to run away, taking a drink as he goes. He gets thirsty on a run like that. Illusion and Yangsu in hot pursuit. Going to be intercepted, though, by way less, who will keep 17 alive. And again, these dedicated chases ending in failure for Invictus. They cannot find these picks.
Good use of flash there to flash away from the dragon assistant knockup so he wasn't, stunned for a little bit longer. Of course, the cutlass came out, slowing up, making that a bit of a close call, but good use of cooldowns from 17 to walk away from that freely. And of course, Wayless having the communication to, hey, bro, I'm coming. I can save you. I can help you out.
Yep, now Shuan has to be careful, dodging all the skill shots, fancy feet, as he moves away from that Baron Pit. Speaking of Baron Pit, 20 minutes elapsed in the game. Nobody's eyeballing it yet. This game's a lot closer than it might appear, but LGD certainly has the impetus to try and make something happen in that department. They've controlled every other objective on the map so far so well. IG unable to take a single tower to the 4 of LGD, and they have to get something together. They have a comp built around Yasuo, you mentioned it. He's managed to get 2 kills. But Frosk, what does IG have to do? These fights are just so sporadic that it's hard to predict for IG.
They have to group. First and foremost, they have to control vision of their jungler. Or excuse me, vision of their jungle. The reason why they lost that last fight is simply because there was a ward in that brush that you see them just walking through now. Obviously, Baron is going to be heavily contested simply because of the comp style that LG are running. It's very much kind of SKT1 of Worlds-esque. You have Ahri, you have Thresh, you have that ability to make
a pick. Kitty's on the line, too. And he's dead. That's going to be the key to start the Baron up. Zatai, not in the area. They've realized that they can do these plays because they're sending Zatai to split. Wayless now moving around for Kid. His health bar is evaporating. They're just turning right back into the Baron again. Smite Steal might be available, but they got a Yangsu on the line too. They're just chasing everyone away, swatting them like bugs. And Illusion going for the steal. Can they get it? Yangsu distracting. It's going to go low. It's going to go down, but it's going over to Shuan. This is looking great right now. If you're LGD, not so much for Invictus. And they're dropping down, down, down. Zatai falling down. Yangsu as well. Kid goes too far in. He's going to get popped. That's a barrel. That's XQ moving forward. Illusion and Kitties, the only living members on this one. Kitties had already gone down prior to the start of that one, and Baron in the pockets of 3 members of LGD, once again proving that they are playing the better game this game.
Complete lack of communication from Invictus Gaming. The #1 issue when trying to contest a Baron, you have to make the call. Are we stealing this from the back, or are we going around the side of the pit to fight it? If we're going around the side of the pit, you have to come from the same side. The fact that Illusion came from one side, that Z-Tai was coming over the back of the wall, and the fact that then Kid, 45 minutes later decides to wander around the next corner. Here's the replay of this. Of course, it's on the back half. Illusion already tried to come around the side, gets burned for it, tries to make the steal, best play available to him at the time. But look at Kid right now.
The smite, too. It was so close.
Still on the back of the pit, and the team is just not synergized. If you're going to make the fight for it, everyone has to go at once. Kid, not completely misplayed that. I mean, that's like the most honest way to put that. He should not have been there.
Misplays as the tie falls down to way less while that all ends. Yeah, it just seems like it's going from bad to worse for Invictus. Youngsu's going to fall down too, and they are just looking like they are lost here. Kitty's Illusion trying to make a play. They do manage to get a kill, however, onto way less, but Kitty's is going to fall down, pay for that one as well. Illusion chasing out, or being chased out by 17, and Shuan Kid says, bye, I'll see you later. Back at the fountain. They're really just not coming together as a team right now.
No reason to be in that jungle. They didn't have vision.
Not at all, and that was yet another kill. Ace comes out. So this is a 24-minute ace. This is free push territory. The tie is up in a couple seconds. Youngsu will follow him, but this is at least going to be a pair of inhibs. IG is just not protecting anything. They're looking for picks. They're way far behind. I have no idea why they're doing this.
Effectively, it was that Wolf Camp worth the game?
Apparently, that was the tie thought. Oh, he doesn't get the steal. Tempest. Shuan coming around the sides. The tie trying for a desperate effort, and he will manage to take down the fat man. Shuan gets the lockup, or he gets the lockup onto Shuan, and he gets the takedown as well. So that turned out pretty well, but still, with one inhibitor down, another one close to dead, and the Baron, well, not too many people still have the Baron, but still, LGD, massive gold lead right now, over 10,000, double digits in the paint, and Invictus still playing like they own this game, but they've got to be so careful now.
And again, this is the clear difference that I like to illustrate between LGD and other teams, the mechanical aptitude versus the strategical one. Z-Tai, I mean, technically, IG been behind the entire game, still able to find the, I mean, yeah, Kitties came into the back half of that, but it was effectively a 2v1, showing, definite prowess on that Yasuo. But the fact that LGD recognized and made the call that we just have to keep him not involved in the team fight. We're going to fight a skirmish-based map. We're never going to give them a full 5v5. We're going to make sure that the wave is always shoved, that Z-Tai can't roam. It was just smarter strategically from LG. They knew from the beginning what they wanted to achieve, and they did a perfect job.
Yeah, and it's starting to look more and more, very slowly, as the Dragon falls once again to XQ, pushing it out. That it might be yet another 1-1 Invictus Gaming result day. We'll see how it goes as it goes forward. Youngsu looking for the fight. PYL. Dragon's Descent not enough to follow up on that one. Kitties goes down as it's going to be XQ picking up the kill. They're on the chase right now. It's a tie falling forward. It's a double kill. It is going to be a triple kill for that Tristana. A fourth one taken by Shuan, and they get nearly the ace. Youngsu going down as well. Illusion gets out by the skin of his teeth, and they're just going to rush down the base. LGD says, enough of this. We can end it. We're going to go right now. And this could be the end of it, Frosk. I don't know if Illusion can even defend this. He says, you know what? I don't really feel like it today, guys. That's going to be GG. LGD picking up the 1-1. Invictus Gaming to keep themselves in the playoff contention. So far, they are making a big statement.
I talk about needless deaths all the time, fighting over objectives. When you're in lane, the reason why you're trading is because you're literally fighting over the objective of the creeps, the gold, and the experience there. You're not just fighting in the lane simply because that's your priority, that's the game plan, and in lane I'm supposed to fight this guy and trade with him. You're literally fighting over the objective of the creeps, the golden experience. IG right there, there's no reason to be there. No reason to fight there. You're already behind. You have zero vision control. They weren't
like
warding.
The first game. The one that got redone.
Exactly. They weren't fighting over a blue buff. They weren't contesting a dragon. It's not like they were trying to secure a tower. They were literally securing a brush. That was it.
Yeah.
and they lost the game for it.
Well, ends up being 1-1 on the night for Invictus Gaming once again over LGD. So that we'll have to go back and look a little more at the strategy going forward. But of course, that is only part one of the sets that we have going for you tonight, because when we return, it will be an hour break, but when we do return, of course, we will see quite another match entirely. Edward Gaming will, of course, be taking on World Elite Academy. So this is going to be kind of an up and down sort of match, you know, top of the standings, bottom of the standings. I don't really know how to describe it, but we will see how it goes when we come back. So, guys, thank you for watching the LPL. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back. It might be a little while, but it'll be worth it. And it's sad, so that happened.
And it's sad.
This leaves a lot of things open. 17 can take the Gragas. We have seen Nidalee as a counter pick to it. Will Yangsu go that way? I'm thinking about Yasuo, which does get locked in. Illusion getting to rock Lee Sin, taking it away from Xuan. Don't want to give him too many weapons here. And this is a pretty big power move. They say, okay, we can deal with the top lane, but we're going to go for the quick Yasuo lock-ins. Zatai is going to be happy.
I'm curious if Yangsu is going to go Mundo or if he's going to go back to a Shyvana. Traditionally, Mundo is the counter to Gragas. Of course, now we start seeing that Maokai appearing, but formally, it was Mundo.
Mm-hmm. See if he does come back up. However, Brom's still on the table as well, and LGD eyeballing that considering how well Kitty's played on it last game. PYL. Definitely more of a Thresh main, but he can play a number of good supports well, and I think he'll be wanting this one. AD carry still completely up in the air. Oh, last second switch over. All right. Yeah, I want my Thresh back. Okay.
I was going to say, there's no way that they can give Thresh to Kitties. PYL, of course, a very strong Thresh player, but Kitties, possibly one of the strongest supports in LPL. Definitely up there in either the top 2 or the top 3. You cannot let him have that champion. It's simply ridiculous. I think the only better Thresh in LPL is possibly Cloud OMG's support.
Mm-hmm. Kid, thinking about the Ezreal pickup, he has mained this in the past, and he has actually picked it up recently on a couple occasions too, so he's getting a little bit of freeform to see what he goes with. They're not taking their top, and as I say it, they switch over and make a double power play. They're going to take up Braum, even though he likely wouldn't be locked in. As the
it's only recently though that Cassidy has really kind of become the focus of bans in China. Previously, he was never really touched until, you know, maybe the last 3 to 4 weeks, which we're in week 8, so that's only about half the split.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Maokai banned out once again, so Yangsu not going to get to practice that one. Might see him back on one of his more favorite picks, and this time Invictus bans a little away. So Dai's like, I'm done with that champion. We'll do something different this time.
Obviously, they don't want that champion to go over to the threat of that first pick. Curious, though, that Gragas wasn't... oh, he was banned last game. I was like, why wasn't Gragas picked up? Why was it the Maokai? But it was because there was a Gragas ban. We'll see if that goes through this time around. Again, IG doesn't have first pick, so, you know, prioritizing that. We cannot let these champions go. And I have a feeling Zitai's like, Lee Sin or Gragas? Who's it going to be? And it's Zed.
We see any like crazy picks like we saw on that ill-fated first attempt? Maybe Maokai and Fizz in the top lane. I think the jig might be up for those shenanigans, or rather the new picks. I was really looking forward to seeing how Maokai did on 411 for China, at least.
Oh yeah, that said, we'll see if it goes through this time around, although I think you're correct. They immediately banned that out, saw the power of it, recognized it instantly, and took that away from Yangsu. We do have another game following this set, however, which we could see it possibly from perhaps Koro or Khan, as it is EDG and World Elite Academy that will be facing up next. Although, coming back from that remake to then lose the game, LGD is definitely probably on the back foot here.
Yeah, well, they get to be on blue side this time. First pick in their pocket as they take away Rengar, answered back by Caston on Invictus Gaming. That's one thing that doesn't change from Regions. Caston still never makes it through. Welcome, welcome, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to, of course, our LPL English coverage, brought to you by our friends at Games in Asia and Esports Heaven. We're getting ready to get into the second game of our first set tonight. Invictus Gaming taking on LGD. I'm PiraTechnics, joined by Froskurinn, and we are pretty stoked to see what comes out of game number 2, Frosk, aren't we?
I, of course, am a huge IG fan, and I am always stoked to see them succeed. That said, historically, IG splits, and they never 2-0. We'll see if they're able to pull it off. The only team that they have 2-0'd is Young Glory so far in the LPL. So, dreams alive, but consistency is not there.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they've got to work on going forward. Have to be able to recover. That remake was an unfortunately timed thing. However, we'll see if they can pull it out in the next